The January 8th meeting, 2026, of the City of Kalamazoo Zoning Board of Appeals, a volunteer advisory board appointed by the City Commission. Would staff please conduct the roll call?
Vanden Hamburg.
Here.
And apologize, just getting my list set here. Mr. Urban
Here.
and Holder,
Here.
Harrington,
Here.
McReynolds,
Present.
and Hahn.
Here.
Excellent, thank you. Any announcements or changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda. I just want to clarify that we had one additional public feedback item come in for the second request, 1617 North Drake Road, and that was handed out. So that there was the initial three, and then there was one separate page now that's not stapled with the others.
Excellent.
That is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any corrections to last month's minutes? Hearing none, does somebody wish to make a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
A second? Anybody?
I second.
Any discussion needed? Nope. All those in favor of approving last month's minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, the minutes are approved. All right. So before we begin the public hearings, this is the procedure of how they will each occur. For each of the applications, the secretary will read the request into the record. The applicant or representative will have up to 10 minutes to present their case. You need to begin by stating your name and address at the podium, and I say please, please, please keep your remarks brief. Some people burn most of their time with all of their "this is my team" and so on and so forth. Get to the point is what I'm saying, and don't run out of time, because 10 minutes is done and it's done. Thereafter, public comment follows. Speakers will come to the podium and sign in, state their name and address, and you're going to be limited to 3 minutes of speaking. So again, you guys need to get to your point if you're going to make them. Those in favor would speak first. Those opposed will speak second. And you'll probably be asked to repeat your name and address. It's pretty typical from us up here. Then we will have call-in comments. Callers may dial 888-382-9556 during the designated period. Those remarks, if you're a caller, will be done live. They are not recorded. The public hearing will then close on that particular item, and the board will state and vote on a finding of fact. This vote is not a decision on the request itself, just on what the facts are as that we see them, or the proposed facts are as we see them. The board will then deliberate, can ask any follow-up questions of prior speakers before having a roll call vote to approve or deny the find. No, we approve or vote on the finding of fact, and then we have discussion, and we move on to approving the request or denying the request. It'll all make sense when we get through it. Full board is 6 members. 4 affirmative votes are required to grant the variance, and that may come into play for number 2 tonight, that number, just as a heads up. So that's that. Would the secretary read the first application for the record?
Absolutely. All righty. An application for a variance for provisions of the zoning ordinance has been filed with the Zoning Board of Appeals. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm next to you.
By QuickTrip Corporation, ZBA number 26-01-01 at 3810 East Cork Street. QuickTrip Corporation is requesting a dimensional variance from Chapter 50-7.2, to authorize 49 off-street parking spaces, where the maximum number of off-street parking spaces for the proposed fuel station convenience store is 40 parking spaces. Please note that this request will not change the zoning classification of the properties.
Excellent, excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
So would the applicant or the representative want to come forward, sign in, say your name, address, and all that good stuff, and let us know what we need to know?
Good evening. My name is Gabriel Longoria, and I'm a real estate project manager for QuikTrip Corporation. QuikTrip is not present right now in the state of Michigan, so I thought I'd give you just a little bit about us and who we are. QuikTrip started in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1958 as a convenience store before we became a convenience store with a gas station, and we now have almost 1,200 stores open nationwide, and we employ over 35,000 people. Each location generates an average of 20 new positions per location, and we also like to promote within. I'm a great example of that. I started as a part-time clerk 7 years ago in San Antonio, Texas, and worked my way up through management before I decided I wanted to try my hand at real estate and store development. And so I applied, and QuikTrip gave me the opportunity to move out to Chicagoland area and become a real estate project manager. 90% of our employees, just like myself, started our careers with QT, and we tend to stay until we retire. Each of our locations generates an average of $1.3 million in state and local taxes, and we also contribute 5% of our annual profits to charitable organizations like United Way and Folds of Honor. We also offer assistance for our employees like tuition reimbursement, daycare assistance, and even scholarships. As a privately held company, we're able to maintain our high operational standards. Every single employee is expected to, on shift, keep a well-kept appearance. They wear khaki pants or shorts. They wear a red polo and a name tag, and we have a 3-to-1 customer to employee ratio. So say a fourth customer were to come up to the line, we're gonna call up a second employee to ensure that our customers are in and out in an effective manner. Throughout the shifts, we have to do things like restocking the merchandise. We do parking lot and outdoor maintenance, as well as indoor cleanliness checks. We sweep the lot and run the trash every single shift to ensure that we have the highest standards. And just to do it one more, we have secret shoppers that come in weekly, and they assess our store at any given time, our customer service, our cleanliness, and our food service as well. And then from there, each store gets put up against all the other stores to determine who is best of the best every year. And then we offer, the executives will take thousands of employees on trips. Last year, we went to Atlantis. The year before, QuikTrip rented out a cruise liner, and we took over 4,000 employees to Rome. We also offer a lot of convenient options like our mobile app. We have free air pumps. I don't know how it is here, but at least in Illinois, you cannot find free air anywhere. Our mobile pay, or QT Mobile Pay app right now, we're running at 25 cents off a gallon and 5% off in stores whenever you link your bank account. And store security is one of the utmost things for us. We have 360-degree coverage by way of camera, audio, video, and lighting. And we also establish great relationships with local law enforcement and emergency services. I used to work at a store where I had befriended 4 or 5 police officers, and I saw at least one of them on a daily basis, and that not only made me and my employees feel safe, it also made our customers feel safe. Here's just a visual of what a typical QuikTrip would look like by way of camera coverage outside. As you can see, the entire lot is completely covered by cameras, and then there are multiple points that are covered by 3 or 4 even. The biggest thing we're pushing right now is our fresh food, our QT kitchens. You can order on the screens in stores, or you can order through the mobile app. And then we also have a grab-and-go warmer that we keep fresh and rotating to offer a lot of breakfast items like breakfast tacos, breakfast pizza, and breakfast sandwiches. And then also during lunch, we offer pulled pork, pulled brisket, sandwiches and tacos, as well as mac and cheese, pretzels, sub sandwiches, and we are also even now adding in fryers, where we have French fries, chicken strips, buffalo chicken wings. Now, this is the site that we are proposing at 3810 East Cork Street. On Old Cork Street, we're proposing 2 full accesses, and on the right, you can see our convenience store, and then to the left is our double stack 8 gas canopy, and we're proposing 49 parking spaces. This is what our Gen 4 store layout would look like. We have the entrance at the very bottom. There are 2 entry and exit ways. To the left, we have 3 points of sale where you can help a customer on either side. So at the busiest time during the day, we can have 6 customers being helped at the same exact time. On the top left corner, that is where our kitchen is located, and then to the far right, there are 8 unisex restrooms. The top row of 4 is going to be just a standard restroom, and then the bottom 4 are ADA compliant. And then we also have multiple emergency exits throughout the store. This is what our Gen 4 store looks like. Offers, you know, a new timeless and slick design with high-quality materials to stay timeless. And here's just another render of what that store would look like in person. This is just a rendering of what our double-stack 8 gas canopy would be, which would offer, allow 16 people to pump at the same time. When it comes to our variance, the previous use had 219 parking spaces, as well as 95% impervious coverage. With our proposal, we are now bringing that down to 49 parking spaces and just around 56% impervious coverage. So we're well within that impervious coverage standard. We are meeting all the other standards besides adding in the 9 additional parking spaces. And QuickTrip finds that 50 parking spaces, about 50 parking spaces, is what is optimal in order to ensure that everybody during peak hours even is able to find a parking spot and doesn't have to circulate the lot, which would then cause congestion and provide or bring about very hazardous conditions for our pedestrians and employees. Also, all of the surrounding uses have well over 50 parking spaces, so we are confident that we are still aligning with the general area. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Can you tell me your first name again?
Gabriel.
Gabriel, thank you very much. Pete, does staff have any comments that they wish to?
Just a few comments, and some of them were already touched on, like the quantity of parking spaces that are out there now. I was able to glean some history about this site and the adjacent site where the Arby's is located was a large truck stop in decades past, and then the site was broken up, and that's in part why there's a multi-tenant sign at the corner of this particular property close to the Sprinkle Road roundabout. But yeah, as was mentioned, there is a substantial parking lot there now, well in excess what the Crew restaurant that used to be on the site needed, and it really just, it dated back to the history of the use as a truck stop. This particular request, I worked with the applicant, on the interior landscaping requirements for the site, and that was addressed. The impervious cover is actually going to be coming in, the concept layout that's before you tonight in the packet is well under the 80% maximum impervious cover allowed for this commercial community zone district. So it's a substantial change from what's there now in a good way. Take a non-conforming site with 219 parking spaces and bring it down to 49. So, looking at the criteria of the special circumstances in the staff report, you may have noted that there was comments made about first of all, the unique layout and services offered by this QuickTrip location. Where typically we have gas pumps and a small convenience store. This is a substantial convenience store that's 6,445 square feet. It has a full-service kitchen, as well as other food items available. And so it isn't quite the typical convenience store that you see at many gas stations. And because of that, there's customer traffic that's coming there just for what's in the store, not just, going into the store secondarily after buying gas. So, that was part of what was being laid out in this model and the reason for the request for the 9 additional parking spaces. So in addition to the size of the facility and the offerings, staff also mentioned the proximity to I-94 and the additional traffic flow that this site may may and most likely will see compared to the city of Kalamazoo, just because of the proximity to a highway. So those were the main points I wanted to make in relation to that. And also, you know, there are other large surface parking lots in the area. You know, these changes will be for the best, and you know, we'll bring this site into compliance, even though there may be lots of other non-conforming parking lots nearby still. But it's a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Now we'll turn it to the public portion so that you can have a seat. Sorry, I could have told you you didn't have to stand there. Thank you, Mr. Longoria. If anybody in the room wishes to come up and speak in favor of the request, they may do so. Seeing none, anybody wish to come up and speak against it? Seeing none. Any chance that there are call-in comments?
And I'm checking right now for any call-in comments. The line is open,
Again, this is for the QuickTrip.
and if there was call-in comments, we would hear them. So there are no call-in comments for this particular request.
Terrific. Then I will close the public hearing on this portion of this request. Does the board need any additional discussion before somebody makes a motion on the finding of fact? Probably not. Who's doing that tonight? Who's making the motion?
I think,
All right.
I move that the finding of facts for 3810 East Cork Street shall include all information included in the notice of public hearing dated December 23rd, 2025, and the agenda packets staff provided for this request. 13 notice of public hearing was sent, 0 response. We had no call-ins or voicemail. Some of the facts we have presented is that QuickTrip is bigger than most convenience stores that we had, gas stations that we had in the past. So being that it's twice the size, which has a full kitchen, and it's also close to I-94. Some of the certain special circumstance was not result of the applicant. QuickTrip is, you know, bigger than most, as we stated before. The applicant, you know, has worked with staff, you know, on the landscape requirements and the lower sites coverage. The applicant will be reducing off-street parking, you know, to the existing capacity of 219 to 49 total spots. The granted of the variance will not be adverse effect for the property or anything around it, you know, being that it was Arby's restaurant in the past. And that is about it, all I have for the finding of the facts. Thank you very much.
Somebody want to second that?
I've got just one correction.
Okay.
The Arby's is directly next door, but it does have a sign on the shared freestanding sign structure.
Thank you. Any second for that?
I second the finding of fact.
We probably don't need any discussion on it, so can we just vote on the finding of fact? And then we can discuss the potential request. All those in favor of adopting the finding of fact, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So, would somebody make a motion on the variance request itself?
I motion to approve the request.
Is there a second? There we go. I think whichever one you want to write down, Jack or Beth. Excellent. All right, so this is where we will discuss this. I don't know who wants to say anything. I always say something. Does somebody else want to say something before I do? All
I'm
right.
in support.
Okay, I figured you were.
Yeah.
You're always on the side of big business. Kidding. Kidding.
We know that's not true.
No, look, I know that they're asking for a variance of the 9 parking lots, or parking spaces, excuse me, which I don't take that as lightly as a request, and everybody knows I probably try, I at least say I try to say no to everything, at least come at it from that standpoint, but the reason I'm going to say yes is this, and I think Pete and the representative, Mr. Longoria, sort of hit on it, which is letting them do to the property what they want to do to the property is actually going to bring it almost entirely into alignment, I think, with the zoning, except for the parking spaces, which we would actually get a net decrease of like 170, and would still put them in line with the adjoining properties.
170 what?
Like, I think the current spaces is 219, I think I heard that, and it would be coming down to 49. So they'd be losing 170 spaces, we'd get less impervious coverage. All of those are net positives. And if we have to accept that because it's a gas station going right next to the highway and is gonna be busier and probably gonna need all that space, then that seems like a fine trade-off. 9 spaces to get it almost entirely into alignment seems perfectly fine to me, but hey, you got your finger up.
Just one addition, so if, for example, this variance gets approved tonight, their next step is a special use permit because it is a gasoline station. So there's another review step in front of the planning commission after this, so.
Thank you for that transparency.
It will get that, and then it'll go to site plan review, just to give you the
Or at least we're
path
putting them
forward.
closer to bringing the plot into compliance, other than that portion of it. Now,
Ask him if he found this property in his role.
did he find it in
Did you
what?
find this property in your role with this company? Who located this property? Because it's genius.
We have, so I'm a real estate project manager,
Okay.
and we also have a role that is real estate manager, and their whole role is acquisitions and site acquisition, searching for them, and locking down the contracts.
It's genius, thank you. Okay.
They found it and then gave it to him to deal with.
Yeah, that's good job. Good
what I
job.
heard.
Smart.
Excellent. So she's in favor, I'm gonna be in favor. Does anybody else need to speak on it? All right, Pete, I think you need to take the vote on approving the variance request.
Vanden Hamburg,
Yes.
Urban,
Yes.
Holer,
Hey, yes, sorry.
Harrington,
Yes.
McReynolds,
Yes.
Hahn.
Yes.
Thank you. That is approved 6-0. Good luck with the other bodies out there
Thank
who
you.
may or may not hold you up.
Welcome to Michigan.
Excellent. We can proceed to the next agenda item. Let me move my papers for the first one out of the way, though. I think I got them all out of the way.
Okay,
sir.
here we go.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Should we read the request and then have her do it, or do you want her to do it first, Charlie?
Do what?
Okay, thank you.
Recuse herself?
Yeah.
I'm Beth Vanden Hamburg, and I live on Northampton on the west side, and I am recusing myself from this. Yes.
Variance request. Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth. I think you need to read this request into the record.
Okay. All right. An application for variance for provisions of the zoning ordinance has been filed with the Zoning Board of Appeals by Discover Kalamazoo. This is case CBA number 26-01-02 at 1619 North Drake Road. The applicant is requesting the following variances for the Kalamazoo County Youth Sports Facility. Number 1, a variance from the Natural Features Protection Ordinance, Chapter 50, Section 50-6.2H, to authorize the proposed development to encroach into protected slopes, which have a grade greater than 20% and protected slope setbacks on the site. Number 2, a variance from the Natural Features Protection Ordinance, Chapter 50, Section 50-6.2G, to authorize 11.5% reduction of the 25% woodland preservation requirement, which will result in preservation of 13.5% of the existing woodland. Number 3, a dimensional variance from Appendix A, Chapter 5.1, to authorize a height of 56 feet for the new facility, where the maximum height for structures in the RS5 district is 35 feet. Number 4, a dimensional variance from Appendix A, Chapter 5.1, to authorize a maximum impervious coverage of 56% for the site, where 45% is the maximum impervious coverage allowed in the RS5 district. And number 5, a dimensional variance from Chapter 50-7.3 to authorize 20 bike parking spaces for the facility, where 170 bike parking spaces are required based on the maximum occupancy of the sports complex. Please note that this request will not change the zoning classification of the properties.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Would the applicant or their representative mind coming up and giving us what information we need? Present your request. Thank you.
Just to clarify, is after this presentation, then public comment takes place?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay. My name is Jane Ghosh. I'm the president and CEO of Discover Kalamazoo, the Convention and Visitors Bureau for Kalamazoo County, a nonprofit organization operating under Kalamazoo County Management. We are located at 240 West Michigan Avenue in the city of Kalamazoo. And to begin our presentation, I am going to play a short video of some people who are not able to make tonight's meeting because they're participating in sports.
My name is aka Bird. We are the co-founders of AB Workshop. A is for Ace, B is for Bird, and we are heavily involved in community. I have my basketball coach right here from high school. So the same lessons that she's taught me, we pass it down to our kids and the community all around Kalamazoo County.
I feel like the sports facility would be very beneficial to our family, especially me, because we spend a lot of time going out of town when we could have one right here and still spend time with my family.
This gym in Kalamazoo, I feel like being a student athlete alone, this would most definitely help a lot of kids, stay out of trouble and actually want to be in the gym, just because this gym is in our city alone, wanting us to work more or
Texas, and I just like being an athlete and having to travel just even 45 minutes or an hour away just to play a sport or maybe even 2 games of volleyball is just a lot when you're 12.
I personally played travel AAU, which is not only expensive but also difficult with traveling all the time and trying to manage school and other activities. There's a lot of opportunity to have tournaments closer to home if we had this facility, and it will help more of my friends and teammates participate. We fundraise a lot to pay for travel and fees to play. We have to go to far distances to play, when I feel like Kalamazoo is in a great location to build our own place to have tournaments. It will also bring out a lot more opportunities for teens to be supported in doing positive activities.
Thank you very much for listening to that. All of those children are, we asked if they wanted to come back. Those were presentations they made at the county meetings, and they were unavailable tonight because they are participating in sports right now. At Discover Kalamazoo, our job is to bring in visitors and visitor spending into Kalamazoo County, and one of the ways we do that is by helping facilitate sports tournaments. Those sports tournaments really match the facilities that are available in the county. We measure those by hotel room nights. And on the left-hand side of this page, you can see the current hotel room nights we get in the county for hockey, figure skating, and wrestling, and how many we get for basketball and volleyball, which is almost none. I'm trying to basically illustrate the difference. On the flip side, on the right-hand side, you can see the sports that children actually participate in. Many more children participate in volleyball and basketball. And it's not just the numbers of participation, it's the demographics of participation as well, are very different for volleyball and basketball, and many other sports that can be played on a hard court, like futsal, as another example. we don't host tournaments in those facilities, and we don't have access for those because we just don't have the facilities here in the county. So in order to solve that problem, we are proposing building a new indoor sports facility that will be financed through something called the Event Center Financing Act. It's an incremental 4% on accommodations, basically hotel stays. So when someone stays at a hotel in Kalamazoo County, they'd be assessed an incremental 4%. For that to happen, the hotel and motel owners needed to vote to impose on themselves this incremental assessment. It overwhelmingly passed with 82% vote of the hotel and motel owners. They had 1 vote per room, and it started being applied to stays as of June 1st of 2025 of this year. So once that passed, well, what that means then is that local youth are going to benefit from the visitor economy. So when we say visitor economy, that's who's staying at our hotels, is out-of-towners for the most part. Local use will be prioritized Monday through Thursday or Friday. That's going to increase participation for underserved youth, and it'll also generate incremental 628 estimated full and part-time jobs. There are also economic benefits, including, and this is why the hotels voted yes for this, up to 36,000 incremental hotel room nights per year. In order for that to be successful, we have to be able to host tournaments at the facility. That's why the hotels are willing to pay for it, because it'll host tournaments and they get that business. In order to host a tournament, there's certain requirements. You have to have a certain number of courts available. You need to have the right spacing between the courts. You need to have the right ceiling height. Different sports have different requirements for how high the ceilings need to be. There needs to be spectator viewing for the parents and grandparents. There needs to be adequate parking for the people who are coming in for these regional tournaments, and then smooth ingress and egress. So these are the requirements of success for a tournament facility. So knowing that then, and once we had the financing secured, we then went through a robust site selection process. We looked at over 30 sites across Kalamazoo County. When we narrowed down to 8, we hired top-notch firms to do a site selection study to really look at the pros and cons of each of those sites. We then sent requests for proposals to the landowners of those sites and spoke with the municipalities involved to make sure that this use was consistent with their visions for the area. The top 3 proposals were then evaluated by an ad hoc committee of volunteers, much like yourselves. It was established by Kalamazoo County. That committee recommended, and then the County Board of Commissioners approved the site that we're talking about today. So that's how we got to this site. It was based on a proposal. We sent an RFP out, and the landowner of this site said, you know, this 20 acres, we would make this available to you for this project, and based on those conditions. So once that was established, and we knew that that site that we're recommending was in the city of Kalamazoo, the city of Kalamazoo and Kalamazoo County jointly formed the Kalamazoo County Event Center Assessment District Authority to manage this revenue, and then specifically first, this project. So it is that is an authority board, again, much like yourselves. This board of authority members was appointed by the city and the county, and that authority board is going to own this new facility, so it's publicly owned by this authority. The assessment revenue is what's going to pay debt service on the construction cost of the facility, and then once the facility is up and running, this is not a for-profit facility. Any excess revenue in excess of operating expenses will come back to this authority board to continue to invest in future projects in line with the ordinance. This is the page for the authority board on the county commission website. So you can see this, you can see who the authority board members are. Many of them are here in the audience today. So that's the background of the project, how we got here, and then now I'm turning it over to Kurt Ardema to talk about the site development.
Good evening. My name is Kurt Ardema. I have the privilege of being here working with Discover Kalamazoo and the board for the county that is a part of this project. We have been working with a big team, and that includes AVB, Tower Pinkster, Hurley and Stewart, and then the board itself as well. I'm going to talk through a little bit of the actual variance requests that we have tonight. And just for reference, I am a City of Kalamazoo resident, so I appreciate the work that's happening here and the volunteer time that you put in as well. And on the screen, we've got just an image of the site as well. So on the screen here, we have a map indicating the location of the property. This was presented as well at the Natural Features Protection Board, which we received a recommended approval from the NFP board back in December. We also hosted a neighborhood meeting earlier this week and had some good input from the neighbors on the project as well. The site is shown here at the adjacent to US 131 and within the Westwood area of Kalamazoo. A sketch site plan is here. This is indicating the current design of the building and the placement of the building. It has been pushed close to US 131, away from the residential areas, and the preserved tree area is shown in the northeast corner as well. That area is where we've identified some older species of trees, in addition to some more significant species of trees. So we've designed the site to try to protect that as much as possible. The site's been shifted multiple times. This is maybe the fourth or fifth version of the site plan to try to fit better within the ordinance itself. So largely what you're seeing here, though, that needs to be placed on the site, the building footprint, the parking lot, and the stormwater on this site. So another image of the building as proposed. And so I'm going to run through just briefly the 5 requests that we have. The NFP Woodlands variance. As noted, this site was gone through. It was a large selection process. It was significant to the ability for this project to be successful. And as shown here, we've identified some unique characteristics of this site. The site is annexed. It was annexed into the city of Kalamazoo from Oshimo Township, we believe, in the 1960s. A cemetery project was started on the eastern end of the site. Some clearing was done to the west as well. And that project stalled out, but a portion of it is finished. The site was historically used for agricultural purposes. We actually, in the neighborhood meeting, talked to a resident who has lived in the area on Drake Road for, I think, since the 1940s. Just interesting to have some history and background information from him on the site. He indicated that there were actually steer on the property that were grazing on the property at one point in the past. He also noted that when US 131 was constructed, some of the soils from that project, when it was cut through, were deposited on this site. So also shared parking is not available at this site. This is, again, relatively isolated. Shared parking is not an option as planned right now, so all the parking has to be accommodated on the site, which requires that parking lot to be maybe bigger and a larger footprint than what everybody would like to see. Unique characteristics of the project related to woodlands. Not a typical development in the city. This is a 20-acre site, 150,000 square foot building, regional sports facility, something that hasn't been built here before, hasn't been built in the region before, and is again unique to this as a project itself in the city. The flat floor space for the courts is necessary. We can't stack the courts. We can't compress those into multiple stories. We are compressing, though, the building itself with a mezzanine level, so the non-court areas have a second story to try to shrink that footprint and reduce the impact on the trees. And then there's also a perimeter drive required for fire safety because of the building size. So that perimeter drive additionally requires some additional trees to come out as well. Some of the adjustments, I've mentioned these, we've already stacked the building, we've reduced the parking lot significantly. We think we've got the parking lot to a point where it's sustainable for the project, but has shrunk almost 30% from the original designs. So on the slopes, as noted, we think some of the slopes on the site actually come from spoils that were put there from 131 construction back in the 1960s. Regardless of that, though, there are highs and lows on the site kind of scattered around. It's difficult to do any sort of construction or new building without disturbing some of those slopes. We've tried to be sensitive to them. We've actually put the storm pond in the lowest section of the site as it stands now to try to accommodate for that and avoid having to move or bring in excess or remove excess soils or import soils to the site as well. So I think I've mentioned most of these already. No shared parking, no on-street parking. The area is actually serviced by county roads. County roads don't permit on-street parking, so the ability to overflow onto those on-street roads isn't there, unfortunately. So those peak events require on-site parking, which again pushes out against those slopes and the trees and the lot coverage overall. So, and again, we've looked at multiple sites, we've reduced the parking, we've stacked the project with a mezzanine as well. So, and some of these overlap a bit because they're relatively similar in terms of the impact on the site. Here's a quick map of some of the slopes on the site as well. So, related to the building height, we have pushed the building again to the far west end of the site. That west end of the site is almost 40 feet lower than the east end of the site. So that taller section of the building that we're requesting is on that lowest section of the site, which is significantly below the east end and farthest away from the residential development that exists right now. Buildings around the site actually go up to 6 stories in height right now. There's multiple buildings that are 4, 5, 6 stories in height. So we're trying to keep it within the context of what's there, but that is higher than what the zoning currently permits, which is why we're here tonight for one of these requests. Here's some photos of the existing buildings around the site. This is the Evergreen North building, the Holiday Inn building, the Holiday Inn Express. These are 6, 5, and 4 stories, respectively. And then the project itself, again, this is an overlapping concept, but the higher ceiling is a bit unique. The higher ceiling is required for a volleyball tournament, a cheer tournament, a basketball tournament. That higher interior space is necessary to make that viable to do the hitting of a ball or throwing a cheerleader up in the air during those tournaments. Here's another image of that mezzanine level that I mentioned a couple of times. The mezzanine you can see is, again, pushed up onto a second story to try to help reduce that overall footprint. And again, we've done multiple adjustments to the site to try to accommodate for the taller building, pushing it to the lowest portion on the site, nearly the lowest portion on the site, and also pushed it close to 131. And then the lot coverage piece, we don't have shared parking, we don't have on-street parking, we have a fire lane, we have a building that requires flat floor space, we have parking that needs to be on-site due to some of these concerns. So because of that, again, that's pushing the lot coverage beyond what would be normal. This facility, we think, is unique on its own in the type of use that it's intended for, but also the site is unique in its location on 131. And I've touched on most of these already related to the unique characteristics of the project. We have shrunk parking lot spaces from 10 by 20 to 9 by 18, so 10 by 20 feet to 9 by 18 feet to try to, again, shrink that footprint down as much as is practical. We think that is permitted within the city. It is relatively standard in many cities. It is, though, a little bit smaller than what's typical in a suburban site. The bike piece. So we have bike parking spaces. The project, because of the formula that exists, the calculation pushes the bike parking spaces up to 170 parking spaces. And we feel that bike parking is important to provide. There are some people that may want to bike as the area continues to evolve. Bike infrastructure may improve. So we provided those 20 spaces. There's an ability to maybe grow that in the future. But we feel the 170 is adds to that lot coverage concern, probably more than what is necessary, given the use of this site and the location of this site. There's limited surrounding bike infrastructure. Again, it's county roads that access this site, so a lot of the county roads do not have that supporting infrastructure that we've seen implemented in the city of Kalamazoo in multiple areas. Another unique characteristic of the project is the weekend tournament piece of this project. A lot of the visitors will likely arrive by car. It's intended to draw people into the community from a 2- and 3-hour radius. So due to that, we feel a lot of the arrivals are going to be by car. But if there are bike arrivals, we do have those 20 spaces to accommodate for that. And we are also we're trying to, again, providing the 20 spaces, we're doing some non-motorized elements on this site and to get to this site as well. So we think we're actually starting that process of maybe bringing some bike infrastructure to the area as that area continues to grow. That's all I have. Thank you. Appreciate your time and appreciate your consideration tonight. We're excited about this project and what it can bring to Kalamazoo and the community at large. Thanks.
Thank you. Pete, staff have any comments?
Yes, staff has a few comments, and I will keep them brief as we are going to go through these one variance at a time as far as the discussion goes, so there may be, at that point, questions that the board wants to ask of staff or of the applicant. But yeah, as was mentioned, this is in the RS5, the Residential Single Dwelling District. It is also in the Natural Features Protection Overlay Zone. So what that means is we have those additional preservation standards for certain natural features. We also have a residential, low-density residential zone district that allows for certain non-residential uses. And those types of non-residential uses could be, things like churches, schools, recreational facilities, and the recreational facilities is where this falls. But what happens with this is those non-residential uses have to fall within the development standards of that RS5 zone district. So I say that because that's where we run into the difficulty meeting some of these other standards, like the height, which is a maximum 35 feet for the residential zone district, the impervious cover, which is 45%, which if this was a commercial zone district, it would be much higher, and the bike parking, that's just based on the unique size of the facility. The way the calculation is for the bike parking, it's one bike parking space for every 2 employees and 1 bike parking space per 5 individuals at maximum occupancy, I think is how that calculates out. But so when you're dealing with a really large building with a high occupant load, we get some really, really high numbers for bike parking spaces. So it is something that we've run into with the event center downtown and with the Kalamazoo Country Club project. That's another example where a dimensional variance was granted for an allowed reduction in bike parking spaces. So I wanted to kind of go over that and then briefly touch on the individual variances. The first of those is the protected slope and slope setbacks. I don't mean to reiterate too much that the applicants already mentioned, but yes, the slopes on the site are dispersed, so trying to develop around the protected slopes would be very difficult with them spread from the west side of the site to the southeast side of the site, and then you have the positioning of where Maple Hill Drive will intersect with the property coming from the south. So, there's a number of factors that come into play where it's very difficult, if not impossible, to put a facility on this site without impacting the protected slopes and slope setbacks. So those are the practical difficulties facing the slopes. Looking at the woodland background, so this particular property, since it is 100% covered with woodlands, that allows for by ordinance that 75% of the woodlands can be cleared. So 25% is the required preservation, and the applicant is asking for additional relief from that 25%. Due to the unique layout of the facility, all the playing surfaces needing to be on the ground floor level, the parking that is going to be necessary to serve the facility because of the lack of the shared parking with any other nearby developed sites, and that there won't be any on-street parking available even after Maple Hill Drive is developed. So the site does face some unique challenges because there is no development directly adjacent to it, where in other parts of the city there's other commercially developed properties or non-residential uses that have parking lots that could provide for overflow or for shared use. So we get into looking at, the spread of the woodlands, and the applicant and the development team have, worked to identify what area would be preserved. In the NFP Board of Review meeting, which was held back in December, a condition was placed on that approval for the impact on the slopes and the impact on the woodlands, and that was that that native plantings would be added to the site where it was possible to do infill. So it wasn't a very specific condition, but we'll be looking at that more as this project moves forward. So looking further at the height, the height maximum is 35 feet for the RS5 zone district. And in this case, given the use of the facility, the 35 feet clearly is a hardship that the development team is facing, and there is need for some relief here. The same level of relief, most likely would be necessary for a church being located on this property. So moving on to the impervious cover, a lot of this was already referenced as far as the necessary parking, the emergency vehicle access road that wraps around the building, and then, of course, the large footprint of the building, given the playing surfaces all needing to be on one level, as well as the parking situation. So those were the special circumstances that were associated with the impervious cover. The bike parking, more specifically, I already talked about what that standard is for calculating the bike parking, and how, when utilizing that calculation in a building that's 145,000 square feet, you end up with some numbers that don't really align with the practical use. So given that, the circumstances are really, the special circumstances are really associated with the size of the facility and the specific use of the facility. So with that being said, staff is recommending approval of the variances as they've been drafted, and also with that, the NFP board condition about the green space and undeveloped areas being replanted using native species, with a preference for dense replanting of native tree species. So staff is supporting this. I am open to any questions the board may have.
Why don't we save it for our discussion portion of it? Thank you. All right. Now is the time for public comment. Those in favor, you may come forward and speak. Make sure you sign in, say your name. You get 3 minutes. The first ones to speak are those in favor.
Hello. My name is Tiffany Summers. I represent the Staybridge Suites on 2001 at Seneca Lane, Kalamazoo, on the west side of town. I am very much in favor of this. Our hotel is in favor of this. Nobody wants to talk about the C word, COVID, and it really hurt the hotel industry. We did vote for this assessment. We have been taking in the assessment since June, and so we are anxious to see this youth sports facility built. We think it's going to be a positive impact on the west side of Kalamazoo. It's definitely hurt us with Wings West being closed down. Not as many sports have been coming through. Synchronized skating was a little bit smaller. I have been an employee at the Staybridge for almost 10 years, and so I am anxious to see the youth sports facility come through. As a resident in Kalamazoo, I like to see the organized sports. I think it's great for the youth,
and I think this would be very beneficial for Kalamazoo as a city. Thank you.
Make sure and sign in.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Could you spell your last name for me? I missed it.
Somers.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Anna Horner. I am the Ashtabula Township Public Works Director. We appreciate the opportunity to speak to the ZBA tonight regarding these variance requests associated with the project. We recognize that this project presents a unique interjurisdictional challenge and circumstance where the site is located within one jurisdiction while being closely surrounded and functionally reliant on another municipality. So we want to say that we appreciate the coordination that's been occurring through this process already. We think a lot of the public agencies are trying to support the value of the project and the opportunity to participate in those discussions as a partner. At the onset of this, I want to clearly state our support for the project in the youth sports facility. We recognize that this facility will provide an important regional asset that will serve the greater Kalamazoo community and generate significant economic and community benefit. Our comments are offered in the spirit of professional collaboration. We have a shared goal of ensuring that this project is successful, and after our review of the conceptual plan and the different variances, these comments kind of come from if it was in Ashtabula and what our staff comments would be related to the development. So we want you guys to have that context, I guess, of the other jurisdiction as you make your decision. Our intent, again, is just to support informed decision-making by highlighting some of the long-term goals and policies that guide the future development in the area, particularly articulated in our Ashtabula 2045 plan, which is our master plan. One distinguishing characteristic of this area is the presence of nearly 400 undeveloped acres in what is kind of a suburban context. This provides a rare opportunity for looking forward and what planning that could allow the community to proactively address some of the long-term infrastructure needs while preserving natural features without the constraints that are typically associated with redevelopment in a fully built-out area. We believe this context warrants careful consideration as decisions are made that may shape the development patterns for decades to come. Do I really only have 25 seconds left?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well then, I guess I'm gonna say that we hope that there's continued evaluation of optimizing the site to align with all the adjacent area's goals. We want to preserve the natural features and be environmental stewards of the area. And we do have a focused study of this area specifically because.
Thank you. Make sure you sign in if you didn't. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Schultz. I'm the owner of Schultz Suites on West Main in Ashtabula. I also live in Ashtabula, right around the corner from this proposed facility. And I have the privilege of being a chamber ambassador here with Southwest Michigan First Chamber of Commerce. I support this project both as a local business owner and as a resident. I've also participated in focus groups related to the design and layout, and I appreciate the thoughtful planning that has gone into preparing for this project. From an economic standpoint, a sports complex like this increases tourism and brings regional visitors to Ashtabula. Those visitors support local restaurants, retail, and service businesses, strengthening our local economy and supporting small business. This project also creates important opportunities for young people in our area. It provides a safe, structured place for minors to play and stay active, while also providing a potential opportunity for young people to achieve their first employment in the workforce. Just as importantly, this complex helps build community. It gives families a place to gather, encourages teamwork and mentorship, and builds a shared experience and strengthens community pride. Overall, I believe this project supports thoughtful growth, economic vitality, and quality of life in Ashtabula Township. I respectfully encourage the board to consider this and pass this sports complex. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Evie Schultz. I live in Ashtabula Township. I play basketball and volleyball. I attend St. Augustine Cathedral School, and many of my classmates like to play sports. I think it would be cool to play basketball and volleyball at a place like this because there aren't many places in our area. It will help bring new people to our area, which will help my mom's business. I love sports because I love being active and making new friends from other schools. Playing sports helps me to feel happy, confident, and strong. This new sports complex will help more girls like me, not just right now, but as I grow up too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Julie Rogers. I reside in Westwood, 3428 Marlene Avenue. I'm also state representative for the area. Wanted to share a couple of things as you do your due diligence and contemplate this project. There was quite a bit of hubbub around when the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners was weighing their piece in this, and wanted to share that I have heard no negatives from the residents that I serve. I've only heard positives as the County Board of Commissioners was deliberating and voted unanimously to move forward with this kind of project. I really appreciate the intergovernmental collaboration between city, township, and county so far to date. As a former volleyball player, I can attest to we have been long overdue for volleyball and basketball court facility space in our county, so it's really exciting to see this move forward to this stage. I also am very supportive as a physical therapist who still practices in Kalamazoo. I hear from a lot of our patients that travel quite a distance to go to tournaments around Michigan because there is nothing within the hour radius of Kalamazoo. So I think it's a big benefit for our own residents. I appreciate Discover Kalamazoo touching on the tourism piece. I think it is an economic development tool that would benefit our region, but I really like the multi-tiered use where the focus during the weeks will probably be on our local residents, and then that weekend piece of tournaments and drawing people from all over the state. So thank you so much for your deliberation, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm Andrea Hargrave. I represent the Holiday Inn and the Holiday Inn Express. I have been in hospitality for a little bit over 10 years now. I'm a Kalamazoo Promise alumni as well. I'm born and raised in this area, so for me, it's a big piece of hospitality when it comes to the tourism. when it comes to the fact that Kalamazoo has a unique placement when it comes to being the halfway point from Detroit and Chicago. I think I'm definitely in favor of this arena, by the way, especially since we're, backing it so hard. I think it'd be a great opportunity for our youth to showcase their skills and kind of perfect their craft. I think it's a great placement due to the fact, we do have the Kalamazoo Promise. It only heightens and it heightens their skills. So it would be easier for them to kind of go pro if they would like to take that direction with their skills in sports. It gives the locals the opportunity to have something to do. So with that being said, I thank you for your time. Thank
you.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you. I'm Jody Staforia, the Planning Director for Ashtimo Township, and I want to hit on a few things that Anna Horner, the Public Works Director, wasn't able to fit in. And I don't think she got a chance to acknowledge the importance of our planned future extension of Maple Hill Drive North. Through this property, per the planning documents over decades in the township, and that would go right through the northeast portion of what is proposed for woodland preservation on this site. It came up at the Natural Features Preservation Board, and they acknowledged that they know there might be a return and a further reduction of that area. So it'd be super for us as a township if this board acknowledged it too, and it got in the minutes, because when we come back for that as a township someday, there might be 7 different individuals up there, but if it's in the minutes, they can look back and see, okay, that was acknowledged. We knew Maple Hill Drive was going to come through this woodland preservation area. And about the woodlands, they might be young in age. They came about after the land was cleared for the cemetery, and these steep slopes resulted from the construction of 131, but they still serve a purpose, even if they're only 60 years old, as far as stabilization of the soil, ecosystem, habitat, and everything like that. And I hate that I just said that, those words, but yeah, those are important things that just, even though the trees might only be 60 years old, they still serve a purpose, so please keep that in mind. And then our last concern that we wanted to point out is the building height. The way this building abuts the northern property line, that property across the line is zoned residential. It is used agriculturally right now, but it's zoned residential. And in our comprehensive plan, we see residential happening there in the future, not agricultural. So we wondered if you would be amenable to looking for a visual impact assessment just to see the impact of this very tall building at that point, at the north point, and what's going to be the impact of a 1 or 2 family home is built across the line, and what might be some appropriate mitigations that they can do between the building and that north line so that that northern property value isn't lowered just because of what a future developer would have to try to sell to buyers of future homes. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others in favor?
Jody, do you mind telling me your last name again? I didn't get it.
What am I talking? Oh, Staforia, Stefforia.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Deb Droppers, and I live in the city of Kalamazoo. I'm here wearing my hat as an event planner and also as a professor at Western Michigan University. There are so many benefits that it will take me a whole lot longer than 3 minutes to be able to tell you how important this project is. So I am here in support of the variances. At Western Michigan University, we have a sports management program that has 265 students. We have an event management major program. Between the two of them, this provides an amazing opportunity for public partnership with Western and to be able to provide students with the opportunity to be able to be involved in this project, both from tournament planning, working with the facility, and doing special projects. So I am here to be able to tell you that this is critical, and the more that we provide opportunities for our college students to stay here, to learn, to be invested in this project, I think that what we'll see is students who will want to stay and be part of it. And I think that that is also part of what we need to build as we bring students here, to have them live, own, and invest in where they live and play. So I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Make sure and sign in.
Yeah, make sure you sign. Thank you.
I don't have a preference for it, one way or the other.
It just makes sense.
Anybody else in favor? You're in favor?
Good evening. My name is Nikki Hackworth. I'm with Next Level Sports Center. I'm here tonight wearing a few hats. So I am a volleyball coach who has traveled for years to other cities and states for youth tournaments. I'm here as a mom of athletes who spend weekends on the road, and as an employee of a neighboring sports facility. From all three perspectives, I see how powerful sports can be for kids. Sports teach discipline, teamwork, confidence, and resilience, and they provide a positive outlook at a time where kids need healthy structure more than ever. Our local athletes travel constantly, weekends spent driving to other cities and states just to find tournament space. For more families, that means significant costs for hotels, meals, gas, and time away from work and school. While we are proud to support our kids, the reality is those opportunities could exist right here in Kalamazoo. A lack of facilities means we are exporting families and providing economic growth to other communities instead of keeping it right here in our own backyard. Having a tournament facility in Southwest Michigan could change that. It would give our athletes a chance to compete closer to home, reduce financial strain on local families, and allow Kalamazoo to benefit from the tourism dollars that currently go elsewhere, supporting local hotels, restaurants, and small businesses. This isn't just about sports. It's about access for our kids, relief for families, and investment in our local community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
The name is Rob Buck, B-U-C-K. I'm a resident of Kalamazoo since 1978. And I came to Kalamazoo originally to be the head volleyball coach at Western Michigan University. You're nodding your head. You either know the university or you know me. I don't think you know me, but you know the university. And I spent 15 great years there building a national level program. Some of you that are my age might have attended one of the matches there that had over 10,000 people at it when we played Nebraska. And in 1993, I left the university and started my own small organization called USA Michigan Volleyball. And the purpose of that was to bring national level coach development to the coaches of the state of Michigan, as well as the young athletes, taking my experience and sharing it, so to speak. I've been in business since 1994. And what's remarkable about that is most small businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 months, if not 3 to 5 years. I currently have around 120 to 150 highly motivated super learner young women of this community. They come to train with me as far west as Stevensville, east, Marshall, north, and south. Some of them traveling 1 hour. because they don't have the ability to have the coaching that we offer. My biggest challenge right now is trying to find space for those 150 students. I have 5 small, gritty gyms that we use. It's problematic because as the leader of the organization, I have to be in 5 different gyms at one time. I only have so many fingers and toes. The last time we were offered a space was out at Wings Stadium, and we went from our current situation to having 5 courts that we could use. My enrollment doubled overnight. That means we're serving young women like this that came up in front of you, and that's our future. Bravo, by the way, that took a lot of guts. I'm shaking like a leaf up here. The next project is to get boys and
That's okay.
Your time ran out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Make sure you go sign in. I'm aware.
That charming. All right. Members of the Board of Appeals, thank you for having us. Thank you for your time and for your care. For decisions like this, we think it's important. My name is Clarence Lloyd. I have the honor of leading our community's Chamber of Commerce. And we're here because we too, like you, value stewardship. It's our collective objective to protect the resources of our communities like trees, because we appreciate the value they add to our lives. They clean the air we breathe, they provide habitat for wildlife, and they contribute beauty and character to our shared environment. Those values matter, and they're worth defending. We also have a responsibility to invest in the people here, especially our young people, as well as the small business community who's choosing to build something meaningful right here. Small businesses and young people have that in common. They require a community's care and investment for them to become all they can be. This project represents an opportunity for our community to make a significant investment in both, in the physical and mental health of our young people, and in the physical health of our small business community. The #1 employer of not only young people, but of all families throughout Kalamazoo, small businesses. The requested variances before you are not about cutting corners. I'm sure you probably have seen that before. That's not this. They are about finding balance. Balance between preservation and progress, between rules designed for protection and the real world conditions that make responsible development possible. That collaboration has been evident between municipal leaders, facility planners, and the surrounding community since day one, and it continues. Granting these variances allow projects to move forward that will create opportunity, activate an important third space, and send a clear message that this community values both environmental responsibility and human potential. Your decision today will be seen and remembered. It's a big deal by young people who are deciding whether this is a place worth building their future, and by entrepreneurs deciding whether their ideas are welcome here. So we respectfully urge you to consider and support these variances and help this project move forward. We believe it's a vote for balance, for opportunity, and for a community that believes its people are worth investing in. And I got 30 seconds. I grew up in Detroit, about 2 blocks from a place called Northwest Activity Center. It's where I learned how to play foursquare, where I learned how to play basketball. And for my single mom, it was a great place for me to go during the week. It kept me out of trouble. And frankly, I believe that it helped position me well to graduate from college, to ultimately be here, and I'll be investing in this community. So thank you for your consideration of facilities like this. They do make a big impact on young people.
Thank you.
My name is Dante Hudson. Born and raised here in Kalamazoo. Played basketball here in Kalamazoo. Left for college. Came back. The last 10 years, been trying to pour into my community with the youth. I coach basketball at Kalamazoo Central. Just left the game just now. I also coach basketball for United Pursuit. a local basketball club here in the area. These young men behind me, I coached them since they were in elementary school. Since then, we've traveled the country, playing in tournaments all over. With this facility, there could be more young players like these ones behind me. If they had the opportunity to play a sport that, quite frankly, gets more expensive every year, especially with the travel. To have a safe space like this here in our community would do a great deal, not only for them, but the community as a whole, with the different sports, pickleball, volleyball, just all the things. We've seen firsthand the positive impact facilities like this and projects like this can have on a community, and especially the youth. Through youth advocacy, the jobs it brings in, community collaboration, and the economy stimulation. There's thousands of teams all over the country that are looking for facilities like this to have different tournaments. Also, I've worked for the Kalamazoo Promise as an alumni relations, and part of that role was to retain talent here in Kalamazoo after students graduate. Projects like this would do just that, giving alumni more reason to stay here and invest in their community, into a community that tries to give back as much as Kalamazoo does. We already do that with education with the Kalamazoo Promise, but to do that through sports, giving kids safe spaces to express themselves through sports, I feel like the impact on that would be greater than anything. We're in favor of this project, obviously, and approving these variances. We pray that all the work and time spent from local leaders, community leaders, Discover Kalamazoo, and just local coaches, because I know the struggle, all the work that we do, we pray that this comes to fruition.
My name is Curtis Whitfield. I'm a senior at Kalamazoo Central High School. I'm a 3-sport athlete, and I came here to support this. I support keeping this sports facility as planned. This building is a huge opportunity for kids in our community, especially those who rely on public spaces to play and stay active. A facility like this gives our youth athletes a safe place to train, build discipline, and stay out of trouble. While protecting trees matter, investing in our youth matters just as much. This facility can positively impact generations of kids and strengthen our community. Just to say, like, sports kept kids like me off the streets and all that, and I feel like keeping kids off the streets can really help and build our community.
Thank you.
Anne-Marie Borman. I am the general manager at the Dome Sports Center. It's BOARMAN. I have just really quick comments. Everything that I kind of feel about this project has mostly been said, but as a small business manager and somebody who's running a small business that's sort of similar, I just want to come out in support of this project because I think it only enhances what we do at Next Level Sports Center. And then it'll bring people into the community. It also offers us partnership opportunities. So we're really excited for this project. And just as a mom, I know you guys have heard it before, but I just want to say anything that keeps our kids off our phones, it would be lovely. So I think it's really positive for all those reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I am Hannah Miller, and I also work at Next Level Sports Center. I am a volleyball coach, and I also have stepped into a more clerical role at Next Level as well. So I see all of our requests coming in and all the rental space that is needed that we cannot accommodate because we are bursting at the seams with our travel teams. We did create our facility. We added on in the last year, and we added 4 volleyball courts. There are 6 pickleball courts as well. And constantly we're asking for rentals, and we actually now need more space for our volleyball travel teams as well. I also run a lot of our leagues and open gyms. So I know that a lot of people have talked about our youth, and yes, we want this for our youth as well, but also adults. The Mishawaka Field House, they run a lot of volleyball there. up to 72 teams per league that they run. And I am running leagues at Next Level, which are selling out within one day because I am not able to accommodate all of the adults that want to play volleyball, like myself. So it would be great for our youth, but not only that, our adult athletes as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you repeat your name for me, please?
Hannah Miller?
Hannah Miller.
My name's Don Seibert. Thank you very much for putting this together, and thank you for your time. I've been at the YMCA as a youth director for 30 years. I just want to say I'm very excited for this complex to come to Kalamazoo. It'll bring a lot of people and a lot of money to the city. The variances mentioned today are important to make sure that this is constructed correctly and leave a positive and impactful impression to the people, and hopefully that they'll return again for more events. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aaron Rentschler. It's R-E-N-T-S-C-H-L-E-R. I am the general manager of the Delta Hotels by Marriott Kalamazoo Conference Center. I want to express our full support for the indoor youth and amateur sports facility project and the variances being presented tonight. From a hospitality and tourism standpoint, this venue will provide significant economic benefit to Kalamazoo. Youth and amateur sports are a rapidly expanding driver of year-round travel, and communities with similar venues are already seeing increases in weekend demand, hotel occupancy, local dining, and visitor spending. Moving this project forward ensures Kalamazoo remains competitive and helps fuel the broader visitor economy that supports local jobs, local businesses, and community services. We strongly encourage approval of these variances. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Wheeler. I live in Portage at 8320 Shirley Court, and I am a Kalamazoo County Commissioner. I'm for you tonight to support this project. This project aims to give our youth in Kalamazoo access to hardcourt services that are desperately needed. This is a huge investment in Kalamazoo and in our youth. At the heart of this project is our youth. And there are many people in this room who have given their blood, sweat, and tears, and hours upon hours of their time in making this facility a reality for our youth. Many of your community partners have supported this project, including a unanimous vote of support from the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners, and I encourage you to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Going once. Going twice. These are the supporters. Yes, sorry. That was not my tone. Those who wish to speak in opposition to the proposal may now also come forward and speak.
My name is Kevin Stuffelbeam. Address is 2035 West G Ave, Kalamazoo. And want to make it really clear to everyone that I think this is going to be fabulous for Kalamazoo. This is going to be great for tourism, bringing money in and doing everything. And so, why am I up here other than the line shorter, I guess? But especially following the young gentleman that did the gas station, nice presentation. We're not seeing what this is going to look like on this property. We're told that it's going to be 21 feet above what code is. And to let you know, I own all the land to the north of this thing. So it's impacting me huge. And I just want it to be done right. And as it was brought up, Ashtimo is doing a master plan, and I would really appreciate if everybody could work together to get this right. So that's where I'm at. And I know that there's also, I didn't come up, but a traffic study being done that I think is really important for this. And I think this thing is moving along pretty fast, that, you know, when I first was introduced to it, it had 900 parking spaces or 950. Now we're down to 6 or 650. And when we're at the community meeting the other day, they were talking about if we had overflow, we were going to be using the streets. Well, I don't think they brought that up tonight, that it's not going to be that. But I think there's some confusion going on because we're moving so fast. But I certainly don't want to have something that looks like a warehouse up against my property. So that's where I'm concerned about. You know, you think of a 50-some foot warehouse wall, because this thing is big. It is big. And so that's what I'm concerned about. But also, you know, I can't say enough is about Oshtemo doing their thing, and that hopefully everybody can work together. And like I say, this can be fabulous. This could be great for the community. So that's all I got.
Excellent. Thank you.
Could you spell your last name for me, please?
Stuff will be S-T-U-F-F-L-E-B-E-A-M.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Neil Sikora, S-I-K-O-R-A. I live at 9643 West KL Avenue in Oshtemo Township. As someone who served on our Planning Commission, ZBA, and Township Board, I thank you for your hard work to make Kalamazoo a wonderful place to live, work, and enjoy. Kalamazoo's success also makes the surrounding communities successful. I totally support this project as a concept, and unfortunately I'm here sounding like I'm just opposing the project, but that's not true. I totally support everything that everyone has said about the project. However, I do have a concern about a project that requires 5 variances for one facility. This concept, while well-researched, excuse me, appears to be too many necessary things being jammed on too small of a parcel. The previous application tonight was different. It had developed property already that they were retrofitting new use. The use of this small site, is a self-created hardship that can be addressed without using variances. For example, simply adding to the 20 acres would probably eliminate the need for all the Natural Features Protection Review Board ordinances variances, the allowable impervious coverage variance, and the bike parking space variance. It would also provide room for green space for family and friends and the participants to walk around outside and get some fresh air, or just to take a break from the noise and activity inside. I urge you to push back on these variances to encourage the applicant to seek more acreage from the rest of the parcel or a neighboring parcel to eliminate the variances, or to choose a different site. As noted by the applicant, the staff reported in the Natural Features Protection Review Board, there is undeveloped land and woodlot abutting in the north and the south, north and the east. Further, since these 20 acres plus the remaining 41 acres, along with all of the hotel properties to the south that will be a big financial beneficiary of this facility, are all owned by the same entity, your action to deny the variances or tabling the application for further work would encourage them to provide additional acreage for the development and show their support of the community over what appears to just be a financial consideration. Also, while we hope the facility is a success, please consider what happens if the variances are granted and the facility is successful. The facility will have no room for expansion or additional parking. It will have only one access point on Maple Hill Drive and Croydon Avenue, and create safety concerns for the elderly citizens, Rose Arbor Hospice, Story Point, apartment complexes in the Drake Farmstead Park. The community surrounding the site will be more affected by this facility than just the actual site. Finally, while I do support the need for this facility, I ask that you deny or table the variance request for the reasons I've noted, and any others that you may find in your deliberations.
Thank
Your minutes did say 4 minutes.
Did they?
Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, if they say 4 minutes, my apologies. I will look into that. Let me write. I'm serious. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak against? Seeing none, any call-in comments, Pete?
And we're opening up the phone line. The phone line is open. Okay, there is no call-ins for this particular case.
Thank you so much. Seeing no further comments, I close the public hearing portion. Somebody probably just needs to make a motion for the finding of fact, and we can move on from there.
I make a motion for the finding of facts.
I move that the finding of facts for 1617 North Drake Road shall include information included in the notice of public hearing dated December 23rd, 2025, and agenda packet staff provided for this request. 34 notices of public hearing were sent, and 3 responses were received from the following: Tom Howes, Oakland Winchell neighborhood resident, in opposition; County Commissioner Tammy Ray, in support; Iris Potter, Westwood neighborhood resident, in opposition. A public hearing was held before the board. Public comments were accepted, as were additional documents and voice messages as follows. Or there were no voice messages. Okay, here we go. Jane Ghosh, CEO of Discover Kalamazoo, was first to make public comment. She brought a video that was shown of kids in the community speaking in favor of an additional sports facility. Traveling for sports is difficult for schedules and is expensive for families. These children that made the video were unavailable to attend tonight's meeting because they are at their sporting events. Kalamazoo County facilities do not match participation, and we don't have adequate facilities to host tournaments here. Incremental 4% tax assessment, local use benefits for underserved youth, and 628 additional hotel nights per year were cited. The facility would allow for hosting tournaments. There are particular requirements that for hosting tournaments, which is why there are so many requests and particulars for this building. The Kalamazoo County Center Authority Board will own the new facility. Nonprofit organizations own this. Then Kurt Artema came up to talk about the property development. The Natural Features Protection Board recommended approval in December of 2025. The sketch site plan showed the proposed project. Older species of trees and significant tree species have been identified, and they worked to design around these as much as possible. The Woodlands NFP Natural Features Protection points that were made were that there are unique characteristics. Site was annexed to Kalamazoo in the 1960s, historically used for agricultural purposes. When 131 was developed, excess soil was deposited on the site. This is not a typical development in the city or even the region, so there are many considerations to be made there. Court areas cannot be compressed, so there's a mezzanine that was built to keep the court areas from being compressed and minimize the impact of the height of the building. There are parking lot requirements for a facility like this, and they have worked every way possible to keep that space to the minimum necessary, including reducing the square footage of the parking spaces themselves. The building height is the west end is 40 feet lower than the east end, and the west end is closer to the residential areas, hopefully to minimize impact to those residential areas. Bike parking space, 170 spaces would impact parking lot size more than believed to be necessary. So when we get into, we've seen this before with a couple of other facilities in the area where the building size really impacts the calculation that's made for bike parking spaces. And there's a potential to grow for that in the future. Thank you. So I apologize, I know I started with public comments and then I just went into the other facts that we had in the hearing. It's just the way my notes came out. I apologize about that, but I will get back to the public comments now. So Tiffany Summers from Staybridge Suites, they're very much in favor of this project, good for the hotel industry, positive impact on the west side of Kalamazoo. Wings West has closed, and that has been a negative impact in the hospitality and local economy. And as a Kalamazoo resident, she values youth sporting events in general. Anna Warner from Oshimo Township Public Works Director recognizes the project presents unique challenges within adjacent municipalities. This facility is supported by Oshimo Township, offered in the spirit of community collaboration and overall benefits of the greater community. If it were being developed in Oshimo Township, they would speak to support. This is nearly 400 undeveloped acres in a suburban context from her perspective. Erin Schultz, owner of Schultz Suites in Oshimo, supports. She's also a chamber ambassador, speaks in support for economic development and youth development. It helps build a community and improve quality of life in the area. Evie Schultz lives in Oshimo Township, plays basketball and volleyball, thinks it would be exciting to play in a sports facility like this here in Kalamazoo, and believes it will help other kids like her as they grow up in the community. Julie Rogers is our state representative and a Westwood resident, and she has only heard positive feedback from the residents with whom she has engaged. Proud of the intergovernmental collaboration. As a former volleyball player and a practicing PT in the area, many patients speak to the appreciation of the potential to host tournaments locally. Andrea Hargrave spoke from Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express. She is a Kalamazoo Promise alumna, longtime Kalamazoo resident, much in favor of this facility, only heightens local student athlete skills and provides additional opportunities. Jody Staforia from Oshimo Township picked up where the prior Oshimo Township Public Works Director left off. They plan future extension of Maple Hill Drive North, and she wants to make sure that is acknowledged in today's meeting notes. Woodlands are only 60 years old but serve a purpose. Wondered if we would be amenable to doing a visual review to understand what the height would actually look like for adjacent property owners. Deb Droppers came up to speak in favor as an event planner in Kalamazoo and WMU professor. She has 265 student sports management program and an events management program at Western, and this facility provides amazing opportunities for partnership with the university student programs, and then it provides college students more opportunities to stay here and invest their time. Nikki Hackworth spoke from Next Level Sports Center. She's a volleyball coach who has traveled to many places for youth tournaments. She's a sports mom who has traveled. Kids need sports. Local athletes travel constantly, and it's costly. And of course, she's proud of this, but the facility will provide opportunities for some tournaments here in Kalamazoo with local economic benefits and some family cost reduction and time relief. Rob Buck has been a Kalamazoo resident since 1978, came to Kalamazoo originally to be the volleyball coach at WMU and spent 13 years there building a national level program, and has since started a volleyball coaching business since 1994, and he currently has 120 to 150 coaching students coming to the community, and it's always a challenge to find space to work in. And his next project is to get boys involved and do a boys coaching program as well, I would assume, but he was cut off. Clarence Lloyd spoke on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. He spoke, he spoke that in favor of the stewardship to protect the resources of the community like trees for their environmental values. And we also care to invest in small businesses and young people. This project provides the opportunity to invest in both young people and small businesses in our community, and responsibility in developing this project has been a top priority. Dante Hudson is a Kalamazoo resident, played Kalamazoo Central basketball, coaches Kalamazoo Central basketball, and a local basketball club in the community has traveled around the country with his basketball players. This facility provides more opportunities for more young people to participate in sports and keep getting more expensive. Projects like this give young talent more opportunities and incentives to stay here and invest in the community. And safe spaces for kids to be and safe spaces for kids to play sports should be our top priority. Curtis Woodfield is a Kalamazoo Central senior 3-sport athlete. This facility is a huge opportunity for youth athletes in our community to have safe spaces to play sports and keep kids off streets and build our community. Anne Marie Borman is from Next Level Sports Center, and as a mom, anything that keeps kids off their phones and allows for community development and kids to be in sports together here rather than always having to travel elsewhere is a priority. Don Seibert from YMCA as the youth director for 30 years greatly supports this community, or this project is great for the community. It will bring a lot of people and money to the community, and he supports the project. Aaron Rentschler from Marriott of Kalamazoo says the economic benefit to hospitality industry here is great, and this ensures Kalamazoo remains competitive in many ways. Abigail, and I didn't get her last name, Kalamazoo County Commissioner, spoke in favor of hard court services for youth in our community are desperately needed. Many community partners are in support of this project and encourage us to also be in support of this project.
Abigail Wheeler is the name.
Wheeler, I apologize. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Thank you. In opposition, and Kevin Stuffelbeam was first, and to be clear, he thinks this is a fabulous project for Kalamazoo for all the reasons mentioned previously. He's just concerned that we're not seeing what this is going to look like on the site. He owns all of the land to the north of this proposed facility, and it will impact him personally, and he would really appreciate if everyone can work together to get this right. It's moving along fast, and he thinks there could be confusion because it's moving along so fast and does not want a warehouse-looking facility from his property. But again, he believes the project overall is a great idea and it will be fabulous for the community. Neil Sikora is a Kalamazoo Township resident and spoke also in favor of the project, but he has concerns about a project that has 5 variance requests for one project. He believes that the hardships have been self-created to much degree, and adding acreage would likely alleviate the need for these variances. They should try to acquire additional neighboring acreage. If the variance is granted and then needs to expand, there's nowhere to expand, and ask that we deny or table the request for those reasons. There were no call-in comments. That concludes my finding of fact.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you did a great job with that.
Yes.
I do have just 2 clarifying points that Jane Ghosh provided, that the 4% is an assessment, not a tax, and the projected hotel room nights are 36,000. So we'll get that straight in the finding of fact when the meeting minutes are put together.
Thank you so much. Somebody needs to second that.
Second that.
Thank you. We can just take a vote on it. This doesn't have to be a roll call, does it? No. All those in favor of adopting the finding of fact signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? None. Then the finding of fact is approved. Now, my question, maybe for Charlie or for Pete, is can we just have somebody do a motion to approve all 5, second all 5, and then we discuss and vote them individually?
Or can we have discussion?
Because there's going to be, I presume there's going to be a lot of like bleed across of discussions.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's better to just make the motion to approve them and then we vote them individually.
But have the discussion on
Yes,
the front
just have
end,
like a big old
giant discussion.
cluster of discussion, yes.
I think it's better to move on each motion, handle each motion individually, and the motion addresses each individual.
Sounds like a plan. All right, so somebody needs to make a motion about request number 1 of the variances.
I make a motion for the request of 1 for the motion. Thank you.
Any second to approving that request? Anybody? Second. Thank you, and then we can discuss it. So
Okay,
the first,
I think we should clarify on the record what number 1 is.
number 1 under agenda item D2, so D2-1.
Read it, please.
I was going to, Jack, but thank you. It's late, we all need a reminder. A variance from the Natural Features Protection Ordinance, Chapter 50, Section 50-6.2H, to authorize the proposed development to encroach into protected slopes which have a grade greater than 20% and protected slope setbacks on the site. Okay. So this would be to allow them to encroach on slopes. Anybody got any burning hot desire to speak on it? Mr. Urban, take it away. Make sure you turn on your microphone.
Sure. I was concerned about this until I learned that the protected slopes on that site are scattered. And so when you consider the slopes themselves plus the surrounding areas that also have to be protected because they're at the edge of the slopes, I guess to be a significant portion of the site. So it's a little bit of a hardship to expect this site to be in compliance naturally. And since this is a permitted use, this sports complex is a permitted use in this zone, the owner has an expectation that he can get use of the property. And to prevent him, that owner from using the property on account of protected slopes is a bit of a stretch. So in view of the fact that the slopes are scattered, I find it okay to grant this variance.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much for correcting that. Shelby will get it into the minutes correctly. Thank you very much. My view of the slopes in some ways is similar, I suppose, to Jack's in that, but I'm more thinking if they're created by the highway construction from 50, 60 years ago, they're probably not the slopes that the NFP overlay and all of that was necessarily meant to protect if they're just man-made. Where I suppose we might disagree some is I would say that I don't know that there was any argument the property couldn't still be used even if we denied the slopes, it just encroachment, just might not be able to be used for this.
Yes.
But that's not going to stop me because I also know that we've allowed the 3 different requests related to the country club. One was they came back again and changed it, but we've allowed, and then there was the third one is the intersection at Oakland and Angling, I think that is, where the slope on the church side. So we've allowed some encroachment on actual naturally occurring slopes before. I don't know why in this case necessarily that we wouldn't agree that because these are man-made slopes that they should be allowed to encroach upon them without penalty. That's why, at least with respect to this request, I'm in favor of it. Anybody else? Excellent. Nobody else. Pete, why don't you take a vote on ZBA 260102, request number 1.
And before I take the vote, there's also the recommendation for that condition that came from the Natural Features Protection Review Board. So I do want to bring that up. It should be referenced, related to these NFP variances.
So then perhaps Allison needs to amend her motion to include that, whatever you were just saying, Pete, and then the second needs to second it again.
I motion to amend my finding of fact to include the natural features protection board's conditions that they put on this project as it relates to the slopes variant.
And I will read that so it's clear what that
Thank you.
condition is. All right. So the Natural Features Protection Review Board stated the condition that the green space and undeveloped areas be replanted using native species with a preference for dense replanting of native tree species.
Excellent. Tony's going to second that.
I second that motion.
Excellent. Now you can take the roll call vote, I believe, on request number 1 on agenda item 2.
And we'll start with Hahn,
Yes.
McReynolds,
Yes.
Harrington,
No.
Holer,
Yes.
Urban.
Yes.
4 to 1, that is approved. Thank you very much. Do we have any additional language to add to request number 2 under number 2?
That same condition.
Okay.
The NFP condition applied to both NFP variances, so.
Excellent, thank you. Would somebody make a motion regarding the variance from the Natural Features Protection Ordinance, et cetera, number 2?
I'll make a motion for number 2.
Including the natural features, the stuff that Pete just read a minute ago, yes?
Including everything that Pete has read.
Excellent.
All right. Please read that motion, the actual variance request.
Sure. The variance request is from the Natural Features Protection Ordinance, Chapter 50, Section 56.2G, to authorize a 11.5% reduction of the 25% woodland preservation requirement, which will result in preservation of 13.5% of the existing woodland with the language that Pete is going to read now.
And the condition is, as stated, is that the green space and undeveloped areas be replanted using native species with a preference for dense replanting of native tree species.
Excellent. There's the motion. Anybody second?
I second that motion.
You can't second your own motion.
I second.
Thank you. All right, now we can discuss this one.
I want to say something
Yes,
in
please.
regards to this project. Number one, I think you'd be really hard-pressed to find anyone to say that I was anything but in support of the youth of this community. And building infrastructure and facilities that are in support of their development is essential. It's a part of our municipal plan. It's just mandatory. And our rights end, your rights end where someone else's rights begin. And I think that our lack of, and I want to say this too, I think that we've heard really amazing feedback from community. Jane Ghosh, this project, the approach to this project from the perspective of even the funding mechanism surrounding this has been genius. Clarence, your perspective, I felt it 100%. It was genius. Again, man is not made for the Sabbath is made for man. So these natural features that I am speaking to, I wish and I hope to empower this board, and I think is really interesting. I want to say this too, I'd be remiss to not say that to continue to, I'd like to empower and embolden our community to shift our language from creating this narrative or this imagery surrounding our youth, specifically our Black youth, that if we don't have these things, then they're going to be on the street. I reject that. These are geniuses. These are magic people. These are source folk. So I reject that narrative, and I think we need to do better in that way. And address some root cause things that are happening as it relates to how we treat Black women in this community and a variety of other different things. But moving forward, you know, I think that we need to listen to the people that have been in opposition to this, the people that have abutting properties. There's so many other things that we need to be addressing within the context of this project that are surrounding design and planning that I would hope that we would be able to discuss on this board to create a win-win situation and a consensus in our community that would move forward this project in a way that was responsible for all people, all stakeholders involved.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, on this particular variance, I have some concerns. In fact, right now, I'm inclined to vote against approving this particular variance because right to the north of this property is a great big backyard that's empty. If the neighbor could work out a deal with the property owner that holds this particular site, allow the pressure on the removal of those trees could disappear. Also, there would be more room for creating a buffer between this relatively high building and whatever residential property could still be built on the fallow agricultural land located to the north of the site. I would like to know, but it's not something that really can come to us at this point, is why this option of using the neighbor's property wasn't already considered. The neighbor says he's in favor of this project. He has the capability of working out an accommodation that would meet the needs of both his fair use of the property, which is for residential development, and the fair use of the property which is in question here, which is related to the back of that cemetery. Somehow that wasn't done, so that leads me to think that perhaps one or both of these parties are intransigent on this subject, and I can't, and our board can't intervene on that. The only way we can force an intervention on that is to turn down this variance and force the applicant and the neighbors to reconsider. I'd like to hear from my other members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, their opinion on this, and if I have mischaracterized the situation or believe, I'd like to hear your response.
Well, my response is probably to go along to a certain extent with what you're saying, and actually, I'm just going to read a part of a paragraph from one of the letters that was sent in. As the staff report states, the request includes authorization to reduce woodland preservation from the required 25% to 13.5%, allowing removal of approximately 86.5% of the site's woodland. The site is part of a larger continuous woodland system, and the ordinance requirement exists to ensure that development preserves a meaningful share, I'm putting emphasis on meaningful share, of that resource. A reduction of this magnitude is not a marginal deviation. It represents a fundamental departure, that is their emphasis, from what the ordinance was designed to safeguard. That, in a nutshell, is why I think I'm voting against this particular variance. Forcing them to comply with the woodland or this particular ordinance will not prevent them from being able to use the property, just prevents them from using it to the extent they wish. And that, to me, is not something we necessarily need to give a variance on. And I think it is good that we did have the QuikTrip here, because at that point, I think I made clear that if we could get a non-conforming property as close to conformity as possible, that's what we should be doing. the whole of these are asking us to take a complying property and just go wild with the variances and the deviations from the zoning. And so while I'm agreeable to some of them, I'm not just whole hog agreeable to all of them, but my thoughts are summed up by the writer of that particular letter and that particular paragraph.
I'd like to add something else that I would like for you, the rest of you, to comment on. A reduction in the woodland area to that extent might be considered setting a precedent for weakening the Natural Features Protection Ordinance in general in future. And the city and the Natural Features Protection people have been working very, very hard to create a Natural Features Protection Ordinance. It's a model for the country, practically. And to see it being challenged by such a huge variance here might be considered a justification for further weakening of the enforceability of that particular part of the ordinance. If anybody disagrees with that or can provide some support for the opposing point of view that, oh, this isn't setting a precedent, I'd love to hear it.
What's setting a precedent? What are you saying?
Setting a precedent for in the future when people come to say we want to chop down some more trees because we need to have this area for our use. We don't mind if we cut down almost half of what is required to be on the site to allow the use. See, it went from 25% down to, what, 13.5%?
Yeah.
See, that's about half. But in the course of doing that, the excess above 25% has already gone, given away, even in compliance with the ordinance.
I think it's a good point you raise, and is one I talk about a lot, which is you got to be careful about what you do on one, because if you do it for one, you have to do it for the other, or else Charlie's going to be in court fighting about it. So I do take that as a very good point. It's why when it comes to the bike issue, I'm kind of penned in on it because we've done that before. But yes, does anybody really want to argue the opposite? Because I think Jack and I are sitting in the same spot. Did anybody want to argue in the opposite?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Before we proceed, I just want to remind the board, in your decision, you need to address the standards for granting a variance from the Natural Features Protection Ordinance. Those are, number one.
Let me find them.
Let's hear them.
The parcel cannot be reasonably utilized for its zoned use without the requested.
Well, it can be.
Where is that at?
Well, and you can discuss that and address that.
Go ahead and read it.
2, the extent of relief requested is the minimum needed to permit reasonable utilization of the site.
Oh, I got them here.
3, it is demonstrated that the relief requested will not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the NFP overlay district. And number 4, the requested relief is balanced by the use of conservation and/or green development tools and actions, such as utilizing stormwater BMPs from the Michigan Low Impact Development Manual, which I don't think really applies here, or use of wild-type native plants or desired trees as detailed in the ordinance.
I think the first couple of those are where I'm automatically saying this doesn't, or like it doesn't fit. The parcel cannot reasonably utilize for its own purpose without the requested relief. I disagree. It can be used. I mean, I don't like cutting 75% of the trees down, but it's allowable, and they can still use the property under that. They might not be able to use it to the extent they wish or for what they want, but it can still be used.
So you're saying that
And
they
the
can cut down 75% of the trees, and that's allowable, even with the natural features protection?
Yes.
Yes. And they want to cut down 87% instead of just stopping at 75. And then 2, the other one you said, the extent of the relief requested is the minimum needed to permit reasonable utilization. I actually underlined that in my notes. No, they can reasonably utilize this without going to that extent for the cutting of trees. May not, again, may not be able to use it to the extent that they want, but I suppose if the city commission in adopting the ordinances and adopting the national protection, natural features, whatever it is, features protection overlay, if they adopted these, they've automatically made a decision that some properties they don't want to be used just willy-nilly for everything. They've made a decision that some things cannot be used for everything, they just can be used for some things. They're not limiting it to nothing, they're just limiting some of the things out of the equation. And I think that this could still be used even if they were denied that particular ordinance, or variance, sorry.
Okay, let me ask this question.
Yes,
So because I am in support of this project, I don't think I was.
Oh, I support it as well.
Yeah, I am in support of this project, and I think that again, as I indicated, I think that there need to be some things, provisions, and I think we need to be more conscientious about our design and planning, like I say, most meetings. But with all of these different, I guess this is a question for the developer, but I guess I want to understand, if we said no to all of these, could the project, would there still be feasibility for the project? Specifically as it relates to natural features protection. Could this project can we still get the project done without having to?
Well, I imagine they're going to say it makes it incredibly more expensive or difficult to locate, or we have to make it smaller, or we have to pay, whatever, to make it comply.
It's good, because they've been working real hard. It's pretty obvious from all I've heard that they've made numerous revisions and gone back 3 or 4 or 5 times maybe to try to shoehorn this thing in, to get it to, so that the variances they're asking for is the minimal that they think they need, the minimum they think they have to have in order for the project to go as they have been envisioning it. Yeah. Now, I'm willing to say that that perhaps they may need to re-envision it on account of something that's really significant.
Yes, sir.
Bike parking is not one of those. Access, however, which is really not part of what we can discuss, because the access goes through Ostemo Township. Access by extending Maple Hill Drive north can provide for some more off-street parking there if they choose. If this may be an opportunity for some intergovernmental cooperation to go on, so that when that access is put in, it's wide enough to allow for the parking spaces that they have to move off-site in order to not chop down any more trees than would take them down to 25% that's allowed by the Natural Features Protection Ordinance. So we're under no obligation to rubber stamp this thing.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to find, if this particular variance request is denied, I would like to be able to suggest to the plaintiff, or maybe even talk amongst ourselves, how we can grant something that's close to what they want, that's actually within.
Well, I think if we
but
say.
frankly, I would say that if it was denied, they have to go. They have to keep the trees to match 25%.
Yeah.
That's something that they can do.
Absolutely.
And they can still have their facility.
Yes.
I suspect if we deny it, them and Pete are probably going to wind up talking to try to figure out ways to make it workable within the denial, or come up with options. I was also curious. There's so much Ostemo discussion around this thing. I'm like, why didn't this thing just scoot over the line into Ostemo, and then we're not having this talk? Because the other question I'm changing the subject slightly, but I heard this is a nonprofit. Is the city going to benefit from any property tax out of this?
No,
Okay.
there won't be any
So literally,
property
if
tax
it went across
generation.
the line to Ostemo Township, it makes no difference to us one way or the other. We're not losing out on $10 million a year in tax money, and all of the hotels are probably in Ostemo mostly anyway that are going to benefit. So Yeah, that has nothing to do with necessarily the NFP stuff and
Yep.
the standards, but there we go.
And it will actually, though, have direct, even though it's close to that line, it will have direct implication on neighborhoods in Kalamazoo.
Oh, sure.
And that's
Absolutely.
why this is such an interesting case. And also this visual impact assessment, Jody, I think, said that. Jody talked about the visual impact study or assessment. I'm for the project as, like I said that already, but like, where's the opportunity for conditions based on some of the things that we're talking about during this discussion? Are there opportunities for us to, we always talk about this too, but like, can we just put conditions on some of these things based on some of the concerns that we heard from the constituency so that this can be a thoroughly thought through project that we can all be proud of and be happy about and make sure we have this as something in our community that we can benefit from generations to come. How can we do that? Specifically, as it from my perspective, the natural features protection and this, there's just so much development happening in that area. Ooh, goodness. In that area that it's just, again, we've heard it up close and personal, how these developments are happening or impacting these neighborhoods. And these are where owner-occupied people that are, they're not elders quite yet, but they're aging, you know, thinking about the current condition of our economic landscape, our political landscape. These things are really important to consider. And I don't think that we're taking any of these things into consideration in a way that I think is valuable enough. And so I think that slowing down, I think we've heard that a lot. Again, not taking anything away from any of the due diligence that has been done. I have mentioned, I thought this is especially the fundraising aspect of this. I think it was genius. I love it. And I think that there's a neighborhood right there that we should be thinking about. And I think these natural feature protections, I don't get, like, if we are a precedent-setting community as it relates to natural features protection in this country, we always like push past the natural features protection ordinance almost at every single meeting as it relates to big developers and their projects. And I think that's weird, but okay, so we say it perfunctorily, but we're not honoring it. So I would like to see us honor the conditions, honor like how to protect the natural features protection and make sure we're taking into consideration, again, the neighborhood and the people that have said that they would be directly impacted that are property owners by this facility.
Well, the NFP has already recommended a condition, and that was part of the motion.
And we got a letter
Mr.
from
Chairman?
Thomas
Yes,
Howell
sir.
that said that, Thomas Howells, that said that only 4 of the members of, like, they were at quorum when they did it, and that was also a concern. But not to say that that doesn't pass a vote, it does, but again, a constituent has written us as that is a concern because, you know, we're not taking it into consideration. There wasn't enough deliberation.
Well-
There wasn't enough deliberation in the process.
Okay.
It's a process issue.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I
sir.
may cut in here and just clarify some things that
Okay, that'd be
procedurally
great.
that you
Okay.
can do as far as
Yeah.
Board Member Harrington's comments. What the NFP board has presented to you is a recommendation. They have recommended a condition.
Yes, sir.
This board can accept that condition. This board can modify that condition. This board can impose other conditions as it feels appropriate to bring this request or this project into compliance or consistent with the zoning ordinance if it sees fit. Additionally, if this board would feel that it needed additional time to consider and if it felt conditions were necessary, I'm not suggesting that you do this. I'm not here to tell you what to do.
Yes, sir.
I'm just telling you what you can do.
Yeah.
You could adjourn this to a date certain and request more information in order to fashion additional conditions if that's what you want to do. So those options are available
Thank you.
To you.
I'll just say no conditions are going to change me from a no on this particular point.
Yeah, well, again, that's up to
And
the board.
Mr. Chair, if I could just chime in, you know, as far as the visual impact survey that was mentioned by Jody Staforia, the planning director for Ashtimo Township, you know, that's something, you know, as far as the elevation views of this building, that's something that would be looked at in detail in site plan review. So, you know, we do have the ability to, you know, make sure that, you know, we look closely at the, you know, what that north elevation of the building looks like from the adjacent property, and make sure there's, you know, adequate, you know, vegetative screening there, as well as work with the applicant on design treatments for that side of the building. So, you know, that's definitely something that, you know, can be addressed in the site plan review step. So I just wanted to comment on that, and then Attorney Baer took most of my other comments I was going to throw out as far as, you know, if there's any information you feel this request is lacking, you could bring the applicant forward to answer additional questions at this time, or, you know, if there's information that you would like them to come back with, this can be adjourned to the next regular meeting. So there's a lot of options. The conditions are also, you know, options the board has.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, additionally, you had referred to what might happen in the event that this is denied. If an application for development, this is Appendix A 8.10. When any application for development approval is denied, a similar application for all of the same land shall not be considered for a period of 1 year of the date of disapproval unless a waiver of the time limit is approved by the decision-making body, which would be this body. And only one request for a waiver of time limit may be submitted during the period of 1 year. The conditions for the waiver of time limit would be a substantial change in circumstances relevant to the issues or facts considered during the review of the application that might reasonably affect the decision-making body's application of the relevant review standards to the development proposed in the application. New or additional information that was not available at the time of the review that might reasonably affect the decision-making body's application of the relevant review standards. A new application that's materially different from the prior application, or there was a mistake of fact or omission of fact that, if known, would likely have resulted in a different determination. And that requires a 2/3 vote of this body to waive the time frame. So there would be those considerations. If it's denied, it could come back, but they're going to have to show something different. And whether, so that's what would happen if it's denied. And alternatively, you've got, you can extend the time for considering this and request additional information. But I just throw that out there so that you are aware of the consequences.
Thank you. They've got options is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think we should just vote.
Sure. Okay. Well, I just feel like sad that I have to take a stance on these things to make undue hardship for this project, because I'm for it, but I just think we should be doing processes different. So we can vote, but.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to say that I'd prefer to just vote this thing up or down, but if it's necessary to, I don't want to hold the project up for a whole year before they can come back with another proposal. So if it's, we need to grant them a waiver to come back with a second proposal within a year, I think we should do that at the same, in conjunction with this vote or as part of this vote, so that we're not being kind of dogs in the manger about this thing, you know? It's not exactly the right analogy, but I don't want to be, you know, I want this aspect of the project to get another review, because I think there are solutions that are out there that involve the neighboring properties. And I'd like these property owners and the adjoining municipality to work together with something that will satisfy everybody.
Yes, sir.
We're stuck with one piece of property right on the border, and we don't have the usual flexibility we have to actually negotiate with another party because it's in another municipality. But that doesn't mean we can't encourage that to happen. So with that in mind, I think I'm pretty clear that I'm going to vote the way I originally planned to, which is no on this particular one.
Thank you. If we want to vote to waive time limits or whatever it was so they can come back faster, I'm fine with that, but it's not going to change. Even if we don't, my vote is my vote.
I just think we be doing too much. Like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to vote no, but I feel like I agree with everything you just said. That was well said, sir. Like,
Thank you.
It's corny.
Pete, please take the roll call vote on
Well,
this one.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
No,
interject
let's
again
take the
here.
vote already. I feel like you're trying to talk us all into voting yes, or please don't do this because
no, I'm not.
because hold on,
Yeah.
because it kind of sounds like when you were saying that you're like, hey, if you say no, this project falls apart. So here's a gun to your head, vote yes. In which case, I'm still going to vote no.
Oh, no.
But I'm going to be mad that I'm being put in that position to vote no.
That's
I'm
not-
sorry. My vote is my vote.
Well, I would like to hear what Attorney Bear has to say, please.
Thank you.
No, that certainly is not my purpose. I'm just wanting you to know the consequences of your actions, whatever that may be. It may not change your mind, and that is not my purpose to try and change your mind or direct you in one direction. As far as granting, what I was going to say, as far as granting a waiver now, you don't know if any of those four factors even exist. So there's really no basis to grant a waiver at this time.
Okay.
If you do want them to consider something and come back within a year,
No.
then you're probably, your option is probably going to be to adjourn this and have them come back. So, you know, which way you go with that is your decision. But I would be remiss if I didn't provide you the information to know legally, under the terms of the ordinance, what happens.
Now, may I get a point, clarification? Are you saying that this requester cannot come back with another request for a variance for a year unless we grant them a variance?
Lord have mercy.
They can come back, but you can't consider the waiver now because you don't have any other proposal right now.
I got today.
They could come back with another proposal, and you could elect to grant them a waiver.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that's,
Within the year.
okay, that's good.
That is an option as well.
Okay, so that, let everybody know, understand that, who's in the room here today.
Right.
That we're not blocking things indefinitely. We're just asking or hoping for a more careful review of this particular, the options connected with this particular dilemma. So.
I have a question. So we can either, it sounds like many of us are planning to vote no, or we could table it and get more information, which would make it easier for them to come back with a waiver or a proposal at which we could review and grant a waiver if we wanted to.
Is that true?
You certainly could table it and request more information and then consider it. If you're tabling it or technically adjourning it to a later date certain, then you wouldn't be granting a waiver because the application would still be, in effect, still be preserved. It would not have been denied. It's neither.
Okay, so, but we could get, because I do think, like, sometimes people have brilliant ideas about how they could just ask the neighbor for the property, and it's like, that's really out of our scope to solve their problem for them.
Yeah, right.
But I would like to, I mean, it sounds like the group would like more information, and it sounds like we have a pretty easy path for that without having to hold it up for a whole year.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
And I am not in favor of holding this
Nor
project
am
up
I.
for a year.
Well, and that's really been my purpose, just to let you know what your options are. You go one way, these things are going to happen or have to happen. You've got other alternatives. If you go that way, these things are going to happen. So you know what your options are, so you can make a decision that you want to make.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Well, in view of that, I request that we consideration of an alternative motion, which is to table this particular variance request for a period of 2 months. We adjourn this discussion for a period of 2 months. That's the date certain, which would be the second Thursday of March, to collect additional information on
I don't
this
even know
particular
that
thing.
that needs a motion or a vote on it. I think that's something that I can just do as the chair, correct?
But can we,
Okay.
are we,
Well, he's making the motion.
can we not hold the project up at all and just address the things that we have a problem with and tell these people what we want to see
We
addressed?
can't even get to a vote on this one. I don't know if
I
we're
just
going to
want
be
to
able
tell
to
them
get
what
that.
I want to see happen
I understand.
and let them do what they got to do.
I do not feel comfortable putting conditions on this without more information.
Okay, well then,
Yeah, I
and
kind
that's
of
fine.
agree too.
I'm fine with whoever wants to adjourn it. I don't care. That's fine.
Okay.
Because there's no other information that you're going to be able to give me that's going to change the cutting of it from 75% to 80-something percent.
yeah.
Those just are hard numbers. There's no additional information I can be given, and I don't think there's any conditions that can be put on it other than raise that number back to 75.
Yep.
But if we want to adjourn so they, on that particular issue, so they can have more time to trying to not use the word appease us, but to appease us in some way, then that's fine. Because at the moment, they would not be getting approval, and I would vote no anyway, which would also be not approval.
Okay, so
There we go.
can I ask?
So he's made a motion.
Mr. Chair, we need to undo what's already on the table, though.
Yeah, well,
As far as the motion.
Yeah, well, here's the complication. If they were asking for tabling means that this particular variance request is still going to come back to us in exactly this form in 2 months. That doesn't solve anything.
Correct.
So it's far better for us to give clarity to everybody and say we'll if the vote isn't here, we'll see how it turns out here, because we haven't voted yet. If the vote ends up being to disapprove this variance, everybody has a clear signal what they need to do next, and they can figure out what to do. So really, that's the crispest way to handle it, and it's very important these days that government agencies act with as much crispness and clarity as they possibly can.
That part.
Okay, so we have
We have the motion to
motion on
approve
the
with the
variance.
conditions.
There was a motion made
I
to
withdraw the motion.
adjourn
He has
this.
withdrawn his motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
I don't think there was a second.
There
Was
was
there a
not a
second to that
second.
motion? There was no second, so the motion would die anyway, and it's.
So we're back to the vote
So I
on
just
the-
want to make sure that that motion is
Cleared away.
taken care of first.
I withdraw
because
it.
Procedurally.
I withdraw my motion. Let the record show that.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jack. Thank you very
Good
much.
enough.
We're on to voting on the original motion with the conditions from the NFP board. Thank you. Pete, please take the vote.
And just for the viewing audience, this is variance request number 2 to authorize an 11.5% reduction of the 25% woodland preservation requirement, which will result in preservation of 13% of the woodlands with the NFP condition. And we'll start with Urban,
No.
Holer,
No.
Harrington,
I thought we were going to ask for more, more time to think through this. Are we going through every single one of these variances
Yes.
to vote on them and
Yes.
then?
that is correct. And if any of them are denied, then they would have to come up with a new plan. And if that new plan involves a different variance or a reduced variance, they can bring that back to the board for woodland removal.
Yes.
This is not fair. It's like kids or trees, you know what I mean? Yes.
McReynolds?
No.
Hahn?
Yes.
I believe that is 2 in favor, 3 against. Even if it had 3 in favor, I think that still counts as a fail because you need 4. So that one, unfortunately, is a fail. All right. Up next, would somebody make a motion regarding number 3 under number 2, the height variance?
I make a motion for number 3.
You're probably going to want to read it. Jack is wanting them read, which is good.
Well, do you have it in front of you?
Oh, here, it's number 3.
I'll make a motion for the dimension variance from Appendix A, Chapter 5.1, to authorize a height of 56 feet for the new facility, where the maximum height for a structure in the RS5 district is 35 feet.
Is there a second?
Second.
Jack has seconded it. Thank you, Jack. My question on this one, Pete, is did we grant any height variances on the arena? I know we did signage and, that sort of thing. Did we grant any height variances?
We did not grant any height variances. I mean, the arena is in the...
It's in a different district and it's downtown. Look, hey, if this thing was downtown, this would be much easier for me to approve all these things. But yes, there were no height variances that we approved there.
There were no height variances.
Do you remember the last time we approved like a height variance?
That Burger King sign, it was different, but putting that Burger King sign, yeah. Remember the Burger King thing for the car? Yes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the signage on the top of the Enterprise Rent-A-Car or something.
They wanted to
over
put
by
something on
Sprinkle.
top, yeah.
So, okay. So I don't have to be hemmed in.
But we
by
said no to
anything.
that, though.
I think we said no to that,
Yeah, we did.
Excellent. Does anybody really have a passionate position on this?
I don't
or
like
we
none
all-
of this. Like, I don't like that we're being poised against this project, but there's so many things that need to be, addressed. Like, I think that's corny. Like, I don't like it, but.
I know, having to be the one to make the tough decisions
I know, I can
is
do
hard.
that. I can make a hard decision. I
hard.
just think that there needs to be different processes. But let's move forward. Go ahead.
No, I don't have a big passion one way or the other about the height or the height differential.
Okay. So,
Height variance. Thank you. Go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
so the motion has been made and seconded.
Yes,
Okay, we're into discussion now.
we're into discussion.
Okay. Well, for my part, obviously, since I seconded it, and I'm going to say I'm going to vote yes, because they managed to make the accommodation of putting this particular building in the low part of the property and nearest to the highway,
Yes, sir.
where already the damage, if there is going to be any to sight lines, is already going to be the greatest. So it's the most minimal impact that I can foresee, given the site. So I'm in favor of it on that basis.
Does anybody really have a good argument against Jack?
Mr. Chair, I was just going to mention, any touching on the review criteria would be helpful during the discussions.
Say it again. What are you saying?
Touching on the review criteria and tying that in with your comments would be helpful.
Okay, well, here we are. The review criteria for height is on page 35 of the packet. And if you don't mind, I'll read those. Yes. First, the special circumstances are that RS5, which is the zone this property is in, allows several uses other than single-family residential, but the RS5 dimensional standards are designed to support only single-family residential development. So the design standards don't take into account other allowable uses in the zone. The height variance needed to develop this use, which is allowed, and would likely be required for other permitted non-residential uses in RS5, such as religious institutions. Okay, the next criterion is that there are special circumstances which are not the result of actions of the applicant or title holder of the land. And the staff has stated that the special circumstances are not the result of actions of the applicant. RS5 permits uses other than residential, but has minimum standards that only account for single-family residential. The required ceiling height for indoor sports, such as volleyball and turf sports, have industry standards which must be met, or the venue will not be able to be utilized as a regional tournament venue. Well, if we denied the height variance in this case, the owner could claim that we denied the owner the fair use of his property. And that's a serious thing to do in this country. So there's that. That's my editorial comment there. I'm going to stop doing that and just go straight with the here on with the conditions for granting a variance in this situation. Number 3, that the literal interpretation and enforcement of the terms and provisions of this ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other land in the same zone district and would cause practical difficulty. I just addressed that. Number 4, that the granting of the variance is the minimum action that will make possible the use of the land or the structure that is not contrary to the public interest and would carry out the spirit of the ordinance. Okay? That's okay. The next review criterion is the granting of the variance will not adversely affect adjacent land in a material way. Well, as I stated, I thought maybe not, but that's something that we could contend about. The last review criterion is the granting of the variance will be generally consistent with the purposes and intent of this ordinance. Okay? There it is.
Well, you can talk your stuff if you want. You know that. You can.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can.
I think we're ready to vote on the motion to approve dimensional variance from Appendix A, blah, 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 the height variance.
And we'll start the vote on this side of the dais with Hahn,
Yes.
McReynolds,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Holer,
Yes.
Urban.
Yes.
That is granted 5-0. Thank you
So
very
the,
much.
so the number 2 one, they're number 2, they're gonna have to like amend that.
And so
because
they're
we
gonna
said
they're gonna have to figure something out with
Okay,
that,
great.
yes.
Okay,
And I
but this
suspect that
one,
may
okay.
happen
Yeah.
elsewhere too.
Okay, good. All
Would
right.
somebody
Yeah.
make a motion for this one, number 4?
Okay, just read that whole thing.
Yeah, like motion to approve.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the dimensional variance from Appendix A, Chapter 5.1, to authorize a minimum impervious coverage of 56% for the site, where 45% is the maximum impervious coverage allowed in the RS5 district.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. Tony has seconded it. Go for it.
Well, I'm inclined to vote in favor of this. I don't want to create any more serious burdens to the project than I already have. This is a relatively minor issue, I think. The parking lot that's going to make most of this area impervious has got to be there for the whole project to work. And unless we were to, but if we were to say no on this, they could find a pervious parking lot material. There are such things. Our former drain commissioner used to go around demonstrating that such things exist. So there is a way to solve this if we really want to.
With all these.
Well, not for us to solve it, but for the requester to solve it. But I don't feel it's worth the bother. So I'm going to vote yes on this one.
As a question I do want to ask Pete, the bricks that are like the lattice bricks that are like the big squares with holes in them for paving and grass, what would those do to the impervious coverage numbers? Do those count as like?
Those would be considered pervious. Given the size of the parking lots here, I think they're going to need to be a solid surface with a stormwater system. So I don't believe that a pervious type surface is going to be an option. I just want to mention that this 45%, maximum, again, these are the standards that apply to that low-density residential zone district. If this was a commercial district, it would be 80, 85%, something like that.
Tell me again, what was allowed in the gas station percentage-wise?
That was 80% maximum impervious cover.
Okay.
86%?
80%, what the ordinance allows for that site. And they're going to be under that.
They're coming under that.
Yeah, but that's a different zone.
It's a different thing. But that's what he's saying, is if it was a manufacturing or that sort of thing, it would be allowed much more. Okay.
I mean, I think based on all of that information, I'm in support of this.
Of which one?
Of what we're discussing right now, the impervious coverage. No, if we wanted to see, and I'm of the persuasion that if we want to make recommendations or put conditions, then we need to know more about pervious coverage before we start to ask them to do something different.
Right, fair enough.
Anybody else? Pete, sounds like we're taking a vote.
And we'll start with Harrington.
Yes.
McReynolds?
Yes.
Hahn?
Yes.
Urban?
Yes.
Holer?
And the lone no. That passes 4-1 now. Thank you. So, number 5, would somebody make that motion then?
I will.
Excellent. Go for it.
I move that we approve the variance request number 5, which is a dimensional variance from Chapter 50-7.3 to authorize 20 bike parking spaces for the facility, where 170 bike parking spaces are required based on the maximum occupancy of the sports complex.
Somebody please second that.
And do we have to attach any?
I don't believe there were any.
Not with that one. Okay.
No conditions.
All right, so that's it.
I second that motion.
Excellent. This is one that goes back to the arena for me, because the arena is a specific sort of thing where they were required to have a whole bunch of bike spaces, but it's not exactly a place or a type of facility that people are just going to ride their bikes to for games and away from games, not usually. It seems silly to have a whole bunch of spaces there. This is gonna be out essentially on the middle of nowhere where there's not real bike lane infrastructure and all of that, so it makes sense that it's reduced to 20. That's just a common sense thing. If you put 170 there, it would be 150 of them, or if not 170 would be empty every single time.
And much like our discussion about the downtown arena, there's opportunity for expansion of bike parking as there becomes a need and infrastructure to support it.
Yes. And since this is a not-profit and not a profit motive business, they might be more responsive to the need for more bike parking.
However, there's less money available.
This is true. But there you go. Excellent. I think we got a vote here.
We'll start with Urban,
Yes.
Holer,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
McReynolds,
Yes.
Hahn.
Yes.
That passes 5-0, other than number 2 on the agenda, everything. No. Number 2,
Yep,
number 3,
they just
number
can't cut
2.
down autumn trees.
No, I guess we had one that failed too.
Which
No,
one?
it's this one.
Yeah.
I'm getting them, I'm mixing my numbers up. Number 2 is the one that failed, thank you. Everything else passes, congratulations, or I'm sorry, depending on which way it came out for you.
All right.
Anything else on the agenda?
There is no other business on the agenda for this evening.
Excellent, then we can be adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Ooh, it's warm in here.
Okay, well, okay, well, it's nice that, vote so that even if there were 6 of us here, it still wouldn't.
Yeah.
So that takes
Shelby, happy birthday. Thank you. You're welcome.
I said the one.